from Pennsylvania. Michael Waltz from Florida, joining us, the 6th District in Florida, right on the coast there. Congressman Waltz, thanks for being with us on the program this morning. What can you tell us what you're hearing from local and national authorities on where the storm might go in relation to your district?
Well, my district runs the northeast Florida coast. So for a time there, we were right in the bullseye, right in the path of the storm. Sadly and unfortunately for the Bahamas, the storm has literally stalled right on top of it and is just pounding those poor folks with both water and wind. For Florida, that was some bit of good news because the stall means that it is turning to the north to parallel Florida's east coast. That's the same path that Matthew took. That is obviously a relief if that path holds, that we will not sustain a direct hit from a massive storm. But there is still a good bit of danger and concern. What happens when a slow-moving storm churns off the coast is it pushes a lot of water inland, up the rivers, up the streams, and up the intercoastal, and doesn't let it out. So that means it ends up flooding a lot of inland places that normally, would feel like they were a little safer from the storm. And the wind, tropical storm force winds are still not anything to be dismissed. So we are ready. The good news is that we've had a lot of warning. Florida, the county emergency administrators are the ones who make the calls in terms of evacuations. And the low-lying areas have been under a mandatory evacuation order, and now we're simply waiting.
You're a Florida native. You grew up there. You represent the 6th District there. In terms of preparation, you mentioned evacuations. Are people heeding that advice from local authorities?
I think some are heeding the advice, particularly some of the elderly and special needs, and those timelines to get those folks moved out of hospitals and nursing homes. And again, folks with special needs are factored in. I visited 2 shelters yesterday. One of them was a special needs shelter. But I do think, frankly, some people are waiting to see which way this thing is going to go. And our message from Governor DeSantis to Senator Rick Scott and Marco Rubio on down have been, please do not wait until it's too late, because if this thing takes a little bit of a turn, we could be right in a very dangerous path again. It's just not worth the risk.
The House comes back next Monday. So where will you be spending the next couple of days in your district?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's due to pass here Wednesday, Thursday, and so I'll be here either at Emergency Operations Center or at a shelter with my constituents, of course. And then after that, we'll see what kind of damage we have. One of the things that we need to move quickly on are damage assessments so people can make any kind of claims that they need to make, and helping pick up any pieces in the aftermath of it. And then separately, there's just a lot of moving pieces. There's power outages as well that we're expecting. Again, Hurricane Matthew followed about this same track offshore, and because it's moving so slow, it's able to really kind of pound the coastline. And we'll be here with whatever federal resources we have, and I'll be sure to liaise with the federal government to get those resources. And if I could just take a moment and really heap some praise on our National Guard and our first responders. We had Florida National Guard units just coming back from overseas, from extended training missions where they were away from their families and their homes and their own businesses and jobs, and they didn't even go home before they turned right around for hurricane duty. And just can't say enough about those heroes.
And how would you rate the average citizen in your district in terms of preparedness for storms like this, emergency water, generators, or things like that?
Well, folks that have grown up in Florida and been through a lot of these, like I have, I think they're pretty ready and they have a good sense of what to expect. But we have to remember that Florida is gaining 1,000 people per day into the state from all over the country. So those are the ones. Those are the folks that I worry about a little bit more. They're moving down from the Northeast or the Midwest, and they don't quite know how dangerous these storms can be, and if it changes track, how quickly things can change. Hurricane Irma was dead set heading towards Miami and Fort Lauderdale until the 24 hours before, and then it shifted to the west side of the state. And similarly, Hurricane Michael last year was a little bit of a shoulder shrug, some kind of concern, Category 1, Category 2, and then within 24 hours, it upgraded to a Category 5. And was absolutely devastating. So for those reasons, I think everyone just needs to pay close attention to their local officials and listen to them.
Well, Congressman Michael Waltz, thanks for joining us this morning with the update, at least from the 6th